Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Cleary, and I am a program manager for Magic. I am here with Shani, who is one of our mentees at SKA, and I will ask her to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Shani. I'm in ninth grade. I'm Shani Geisler, and I was a Magic mentee this year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shani. Can you tell us a little bit about your project and what led you to choose that as your project?
Yeah, so I did a project that was mostly research based. I researched DNA and I created a code that I called DNA sequencing, which basically just involved printing out complementary DNA and RNA sequences, asking the user for a genetic sequence. I chose my project mostly because I just find genetics really interesting and I kind of just wanted to find out more.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So, um, can you tell us a little bit about your mentor that you worked with?
Okay, so I worked with her name is Ariella. I think her last name is Schwartz. I'm not 100% sure. But we ended up having a shorter session because she wasn't able to mentor anymore. So it was a little bit of kind of like an abrupt end. I kind of had to finish the second half of my project on my own.
Mhm.
But for the most part, what we would do is I would do a lot of research beforehand. I would send her everything that I found. Um, like by Sunday, we would meet on Wednesdays, and then she would answer any questions that I had. But she wasn't really so familiar with genetics, so we would kind
Mhm.
of learn together a little bit.
Yeah. Can you speak a little bit more on what it was like to learn something together that maybe your mentor didn't have a background in?
So I asked her if we could do genetics. She told me she didn't really know so much, but she said she was willing to do it with me. So mostly what that meant is that some of the questions that I would ask her, she knew from either like taking classes in college or she just knew. And if she didn't know, usually she would Google it and then she would Google it, try to figure out like what that
Mhm.
meant, and then explain it to me in a way that I would understand.
Yeah, that's great. So, did you think that this collaborative way of learning benefited your project?
So I will say that for the research part, it did benefit. For the coding part, it didn't. She
Mhm.
also didn't know how to really do computer science. She had very, very basic knowledge. I wasn't originally planning on doing a code part, but
Mhm.
she said that we should add one. So what ended up happening was we kind of relied on my previous computer science knowledge, which was kind of difficult sometimes, but I think that like when we really, really didn't know what we were doing, she tried to like figure it out from
Mhm.
Google, but it was like a lot more difficult. So for the research part, it was like very helpful. For the coding part, it wasn't.
Okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is that you and Ariella had to rely on the coding experience that you had in the past. So, did you, um, um, looking back, were you glad that you had previous experience before starting the project?
I am glad that I
Mhm.
had previous experience. It's generally a useful life skill, so I
Mhm.
like that I can do it. But again, I don't have like such a great computer science knowledge, so I feel like having what I had was useful, but obviously if I knew more, it would have been more useful.
Mhm. But watching the presentation that you so beautifully gave, I know I had no idea that you and Ariella collaborated together to kind of learn the thing, both coding and researching together. So, what is some advice that you would give some mentees who maybe are a bit nervous about what they know or what they're learning during their project and how to present it?
So I think if you're nervous about what you're learning, do you mean like if their mentor also might not have knowledge?
Right. So if you're unsure of how to present it to an audience, what advice would you give to them?
So honestly, for me, there were certain things I wasn't entirely sure how to present. I took those out of my presentation. So the things
Mhm.
that I presented were the things that I felt like most comfortable in my knowledge in. So I think that that's definitely something like if you're working on a kind of broader topic like I am, pick the things that you're most confident in to present to people, because when you know what you're talking about, you're more confident and it's easier to talk to people about.
No, that's great advice. And I think that your presentation went so well. It's clear that you felt comfortable speaking on the topics that you did. Um, so my other question for you is, what skills beyond just working on your project itself will you carry forward, as you continue high school, go on to college, and in life? What skills do you think you've learned from your time in the program?
So I think it was a really good like real life experience on working with somebody else. We had to figure out like scheduling when I would send her my work. So it was good. It was good for like keeping to a deadline. Like I would have to do my research by a certain time and then send it to her and then figure out what my questions were. Like it helped me with time management to like see, oh, I need to get magic done by this time. Like I need to put this much time into it. So I think it was just helpful for me on like working with another person and helping my time management.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Time management is a skill that you'll use in every single area of your life. So we're always glad to hear that our mentees have picked up on that skill. So think back to September when you just first heard of the Magic program and you were thinking about applying. Now that we're here almost, 9 months later or so, what's something that you can tell future potential mentees about applying, about the program that would help them when considering joining?
So I think honestly, for me, like when I was thinking about applying, it was a little bit intimidating. I thought that it would be like, oh, you have to be so smart and know so much in order to like be a part, like you have to know so much about STEM. I think that like doing the program, I realized that like me and my mentor, we were kind of learning together. Like you didn't have to be the smartest person or like the best at STEM in order to do the program, and it was still really beneficial. So I think that's something I would tell people is like, oh, even if you don't know the most computer science or like you're not the biggest STEM person, you can still do the program and like get a lot from it, even if you don't like necessarily think that like, oh, I would be so great at that.
Mhm. No, I think that's wonderful advice. And, magic, we always, we want everyone to know that there's room for everyone in opportunities like this, and to just really take what you can from the program and make it your own. And so I thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me. And just congratulations again on such a wonderful year in the program and presentation, and best of luck with finals and the end of the school year.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.